Her body of work. And what was you gonna say?
Stop being a misogynist. The show has started.
Misogynistic at all.
What do you mean the show?
Oh, this show. What's up to our sidekicks and henchfolk out there in the Mother Loving Geek Nation? You're currently tuning into the Guardians of the CultPop podcast, Volume 26.
No.
A show where we talk about movies, TV, comic books, needle drops. You could have done better.
No, that was just me starting to talk about needle drops.
I see. Talking animals and all other things that scratch your nerdy itch. We're coming to you live from our evolving set, deep in the jungles of the Video Content Factory, a bomb-ass production space in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I'm your flatulent host, Johnny Destructo. He being of Johnny Destructo's Hero Complex, located at 4327 Main Street, Philadelphia, PA 19127. It's a super rad comic shop that caters to the super rad folks like you. So go to it and give me your money.
Will you give them anything?
Oh, I mean...
Yeah.
Nope.
No, just the money.
Donate.
Get out.
Yeah, just...
Yeah.
Donate.
None of it's for sale.
You can feel good about it.
Yeah, it's a museum of pieces.
With me tonight are...
Brian Lee.
No, Bartoji.
What's up?
There it
It's
is.
your boy. This is Len. What
Sorry.
the hell is going on over here?
I was
Stepping all
trying to
over
get
your
physical
intro.
and I got
Act like you've been there.
We just said our names. He had a whole thing, and you just destroyed it.
I don't care.
Excellent.
They know me.
Wait, do you think you can do a better needle drop than that?
You were doing it. You guys were doing scratches. That's
Yeah.
That's
needle
not
drops.
needle
Skirt.
drops.
What does a needle drop sound like?
It's more of just like a distorted ping. It's not like a sound.
I mean, I've dropped 1 or 2 needles in my time. Also, behind the camera is our intrepid producer, Dylan the Great. Hey, Dylan,
Hey.
you sign your emails, Dill. Is that
Yeah.
something that we can call you, or is that just like...
You can call me Dill. You can call me Bill. You can call me
What it?
Hey You over there.
Chill?
How do you
Chill.
spell dill? D-I-D-Y-L?
Yeah.
DYL.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's I appreciate that, because if you had changed the spelling of your own damn name for like
That would be weird.
I'd
for
be a
the
fraud.
shortening version,
I'd be a
Yeah.
fraud.
I don't believe in
Yeah.
that. Like D-I-L-L. Like, is it spelled Dylan?
I just want to make sure it
D-I-L-L?
wasn't
That's
on the
a herb.
DYL.
Have you thought about hosting like a podcast or publishing a zine called "What's the Dill"?
Oh.
Have you ever thought of that?
Ooh.
I have a cat toy for my cat at
Okay.
home,
Uh-huh.
and it is a pickle, and
Sure.
it says I'm kind of a big dill.
Can
Okay.
we spend a
Nice.
couple minutes talking about your cat?
I would love to.
All right.
What kind of cat is it?
She's a calico cat, tortoiseshell, tuxedo. Her name's Baby Jones.
Tortoise
Baby
shell?
Jones.
Baby
Jones.
Jones.
That's a cool
As
name.
in Baby Jones locker.
Oh, you mother...
Oh, this is the show now.
My
guys.
girlfriend
Science
my
leaves
girlfriend
on
came
roll 'em
home one day and said, this is before, like, months before we ever got a cat. She was like, you know what's funny? I'm like, what? She's like, Baby Jones locker. She's like, get it? Like, instead of Baby
She
Jones.
followed it up
And I'm
with
like,
Get it?
yeah, that's funny. And then we got this cat, and now we were trying to think of a name, and I'm like,
That's it.
Baby
Baby
Jones.
Jones.
Locker.
Nailed it.
I
Do
also
you
like
call
that you're
her?
not-
Do you call her tree and/or bed the locker?
No, she doesn't really have a bed. She likes to sleep with us, but
They are.
we do want to get her like one of those like little mini lockers.
Yeah.
And just label it like that's Baby
But
Jones.
then that would be
locker.
Baby Jones' locker.
Shoot. He's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
But
Well,
I
I
also
don't know.
like-
Yeah.
I mean, her whole name's not Baby
Yeah, her
Jones
whole
Locker.
name is Baby Jones.
Yeah.
It's Baby
Jones Locker.
Jones.
No, my understanding
Sometimes we
was-
call her the Baby Jonestown Massacre.
Oh, my God.
She,
It
she's
got
lots
dark,
of
but
names.
I
This took a
still,
turn.
but I still enjoy
She's
it.
a dark cat. She's she's got a
she's
dark
an
sense
emo
of
cat,
humor.
Well,
yeah,
with
yeah.
those
Straight emo
tortoise
cat.
shell rims and a tuxedo, I imagine her
Yeah.
as quite the conniving.
She's gonna host
pussy.
a horror anthology show.
So how do
Yeah.
I get you to shut up about it?
Oh, sorry.
Oh, before we
It
get
wasn't
into
like
tonight's
that.
discussion-
God, that was so rude.
Yeah, your segues are getting better.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We'd
Fucking
like to,
asshole.
we'd like to thank
Dylan,
you
what's
all
how much does that cat weigh?
for being here with us.
Do you have pictures?
whether
Can we
you're
throw them
wa-
on the screen?
She's about 10 pounds soaking wet.
JD, what do you think about that? The
I
cat,
think
the cat
that
thing.
if you like this, good for you. Please comment, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon. Email us in your cat's names at cultpopgo@gmail.com. I will throw them directly in the trash. I won't even look at them.
Email us in your cat's name. So say something that your cat would say
Yeah.
and send it to us.
Actually, dictate an email from your cat.
yeah. That would be
to
great.
us. That would be
Oh goodness. So that's the
Buttons.
introduction. We did it. We're halfway there, you guys. This part of the show is called "What You've Been Up to This Week."
Huh.
Huh?
I thought we had email.
We do have an email. Why do you skip?
Because it's not in here.
You didn't update. It's always been in there.
Hey, we got letters.
What is
We got
We
letters?
have letters?
Oh,
We got lots and lots and lots and lots of letters.
Oh man, my phone refreshed. Here we go.
We don't have letters.
From Sellington 2814. 2814?
2814.
I say 2814, but
2814.
2814 is a thing to say as well.
Hey guys, it's your boy Charles in Chattanooga, aka Hal,
2814.
aka the Green Lantern.
Triple.
This is a quickie email to say thanks to Randy, who is he's been replaced by a Spider-Man bust. A few episodes ago, Randy brought up the show Night Agent on Netflix.
Yes.
So I mentioned it to my wife one weekend, and we were hooked. There were no big name actors in it, but I remember the Asian actress who played the Secretary of State. She was in the movie The Menu. Oh, yeah, she was cool. She was good in The Menu. My wife made a complaint that the lead character wasn't a good fighter, and I said that made it more believable. Anyone that works in an agency like the FBI or Secret Service isn't some super badass. Anyway, we love the series and hope Netflix doesn't do what they've been doing lately and don't do a second season. Randy, I would like to know if you've checked out Citadel on Amazon yet and what you think. No spoilers, though, because we've only watched the first 2 episodes. Till next time, CultPop! And, oh, hi, yeah, to the rest of the crew, even Brian. LOL.
Excellent.
Yeah, there we go. And there was another email.
Is that right?
But that was from the Home Dad Abroad, but it was just for me, not the show.
No.
Basically,
why did you bring it up?
He's coming to visit because we
Oh,
had
excellent.
lots and lots of letters.
Oh,
it was
I
more
see.
than one. It was
I
double
gotcha.
what we usually get.
But one's not for the show.
Yeah.
yeah.
So
So you can't
don't
have
have them
It's
Yeah.
just
in the sense
you
of
had
the
one,
word.
and then we had
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So the rudeness continues.
Sorry.
Let's see where it heads next.
Yeah. Hey, Brian.
To
Hey.
Jesus.
Jesus.
What you been up to this week, huh?
Well, JD, I went to a rock opera at the theater. My girlfriend and I went to see Jesus Christ Superstar 50th anniversary tour, which has been going for a few years now. So it's like whatever, 52nd or 3rd anniversary. But they won the best revival, I believe, best Broadway or Broadway style revival. I don't know exactly what it was when they first started. And I don't know if they're all the same people, but well deserved. It was awesome. The people that played Jesus and Mary and Joseph and Caiaphas, all fantastic voices. Everybody had fantastic voices.
Can you give a quick
Yeah.
plot synopsis of Jesus Christ Superstar?
Oh, you got it.
That
Sure,
was my
Thank
question.
you.
Thank you.
So, Jesus Christ Superstar begins in, the Jesus story, right? There was a guy,
Not unlike
some
Santa.
people claimed he was
I
the
do.
Messiah. It's not that similar to Santa.
Go on.
So he's been preaching for a while, like 3 years now. He's about to get
Laid?
it's implied that
Oh.
with Mary, yeah. But that could have been going on for a while. I hope that it was. He's about to get pointed out by Judas, right? He's gonna do that. So they have the Seder, and that happens. He points him out. The whole Judas goes to the Romans, and they're like, we're gonna find him anyway. Just do it.
Isn't it like the 3 days? It's the 3 days, right? 3 days leading up to his
That sounds
crucifixion.
It sounds
is
about right.
crucifixion.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
so Palm Sunday,
Right.
and then when he arrives, laying down the palms and stuff, and then it's the play is the 3 days before the crucifixion.
Yeah.
So like
well,
all the craziness that
does the
happens.
3 days take in the Last Supper also? Because
Yeah.
that happens.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
with song.
The whole thing is sung, and they had the musicians on stage in this like cool shadowy kind of thing, which was very cool. It was done in. They're wearing clothes that could be modern, mostly. There's a lot of anachronisms in the film. These are in a different way, and like sneakers and that kind of thing. And the Jesus character had his hair in a pretty modern. It was long, but it was in a modern setup. I often am a little off-put when I go to see something live and the music is changed a little bit, right? Which is like every time, and I understand why they want to play something different or do something different, but not this time. Man, it was pretty much the same and a little different. Where it was just like, oh, that was a cool little change, or whatever. So Herod is also a very cool part of the show. I guess if you guys aren't familiar with it, he doesn't do any miracles. There's none of that. He's a guy. I think He's Just a Man is the name of one of the songs, actually, that Mary sings. Whether or not he can do those things is not addressed, but it doesn't happen during this. Although he does predict that Peter will deny him 3 times, and that does happen.
I mean, classic Peter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he was always denying stuff.
Yeah.
And 3 times every time.
Yeah.
So Judas is played as a much more sympathetic figure and a much more regretful figure than he sometimes is, to great effect on this occasion as well. And I always found that interesting, that it's just, Judas questions, do you think you're who they say you are, is a line from one of the songs, and that like his message has outgrown his aura has outgrown his teachings, right?
Yeah.
Is a big part of it. So it's very humanized or humanistic type of Jesus, and it was presented spectacularly. It's left Philly now. But it's coming to New Brunswick, New Jersey in June. If anyone is interested in seeing it, it is
Worth the time?
It is worth the time.
Nice.
Yeah.
Right on.
Nice.
Robert Monroe Jr. is down in the chat saying, a friend of mine plays bass in the band of Jesus Christ Superstar.
Oh, wonderful. Oh, well, if you talk to him, if you wouldn't mind telling him I thought it was awesome. I love that show, and I thought this was a great interpretation.
Make him subscribe to the channel.
Those are 2 separate requests.
Nope. Same thing. Make him subscribe. Make him a fan.
Hey, Noel,
Yeah.
what you been up to this week?
Well, I have been up to reading comics, and one specific comic that I just recently arrived at my home today. I kickstarted a comic from Dean Haspiel
Oh, yeah, I know, Dean.
called COVID Cop.
COVID Cap.
I'm showing it to the
CBS.
camera. COVID Cop.
COVID Cap.
This is
Can I grip it?
so. When I saw the title, I thought it was gonna be edgy bullshit. But actually knowing his previous work and then reading the description of it, it's actually a really funny parody. I don't necessarily really want to go into the plot. It's like 20 years into the pandemic, and only 2% of the population is still around, and they only have so much time left. And this cop who's responsible for pushing back the diseases has a group of other cops that he works with, and they're fighting off like some of the bad guys' names. It's Trauma, guys. It's Trauma.
Trauma. For anyone who doesn't know, Trauma
This
is
is
a...
Toxic Avenger, but COVID Cop, and then of course, so like the catchphrase for COVID Cop for an indication
Cap.
is mask it or casket.
Okay.
Yeah,
I like that.
it's really cute. I'm trying to think some of the bad guys' names. Major Fallout. Some of the other, it's so weird. And then of course, like another one of the bad guys is dressed up like a Easter Bunny suit, and it's a whole like screaming conversation about ideology and and Christians, and this is really funny. It's a very funny book. The presentation is wonderful.
Oh, it's printed.
Yeah, the presentation is nice in cardstock. I think there's going to be like more of these, but this was apparently he shopped this around, and no publisher really wanted it.
Yeah. It was
Just-
too real.
I could see them being wary of
More
publishing that.
sensitive, right?
Yeah,
sensitive to the idea of it. But it's very funny. I thought it was really funny, and I like little irreverent indie comics. As somebody who does believe in science, I was not offended by this whatsoever. Yeah,
Nice.
because there's characters on both ends of the spectrum. It's actually pretty funny.
Nice.
Yeah, it's really well done.
You would recommend it?
I would recommend it. I'm not exactly sure
Is it
where
too
and
early,
how
too
to
late?
get it.
Yeah.
I think he's going to kind of keep publishing it, self-publishing it. So we'll see. Hopefully, maybe it'll be in stores eventually.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Hey, Len,
Yes, sir.
you weren't doing anything this week, but then recently you were like, I've done something. And what was that?
I started a new series. I believe it's a relatively new series, because it's only 2 episodes up on Apple TV called Silo, which stars David Oyelowo and Rebecca Ferguson. In it, it is about, and I'll read it right from IMDb. In a ruined and toxic future, a community exists in a giant underground silo that plunges hundreds of stories deep. There, people live in a society full of regulations they believe
In a
are meant
society.
to protect them.
Hang on a second.
What?
Just the fact that they said it that way makes
exact-
me suspicious.
Apparently it's based on a series of novels.
Yes,
Yeah.
by Hugh Howey.
So they're, I mean, reason to believe that they don't know all the information.
Yeah.
Well, I am told by the poster that the truth will surface.
Oh, that's a nice
So-
promise.
Yeah.
From the silence.
Has it surfaced yet in the first 2 episodes?
I hope not, because that's a short show.
Well, yes and no.
Ah.
Yes and no in the 2 episodes, which I actually appreciated, because that is the type of setup that can be drawn out
Yeah.
for a while. But this show doesn't play like real cute with its secrets. It definitely is kind of like, tugging on the strings of a mystery. But it's all about the mood, it's all about the tone, it's all about the world building of it all. And the acting. David Oyelowo and Rebecca Ferguson are both very good actors. And you like them, you wanna ride with them. It's interesting. I'm intrigued.
It also has Ian Glenn, Scottish actor from the Game of Thrones.
I believe that is Yon.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
Yes, and also Tim
Robbins.
Heidecker.
Robbins.
Tim Robbins.
So
You know,
started out there.
for kids. And also Rashida Jones.
I like.
Yes, she's
Yeah.
in it as well.
That's cool.
Yeah, so it's cool. There's only 2 episodes. It comes out. The new episodes come out on Fridays.
Nice.
So you can check it out.
Hey, GD, what you been up to this week? Well, I'll tell you. I watched Nope again. And here's the thing. When I first saw Nope,
What is Nope?
it's a film by
Jordan Peele,
Jordan Peele,
Starring
Daniel Kaluuya,
Kaluuya
and
and
Kiki Palmer.
yes,
and some other people.
And
Oh.
Stephen Yeun.
Oh, it's Stephen Yeun. Yeah, of course.
And Winston, the guy, the bad guy from The Crow.
Oh, the voice.
Wincott.
Yeah, Michael Wincott.
Thank you.
Yeah,
and
that's it. Shut up.
There's one more main
Can I get a full
actor,
cast
I feel like.
Listen, I am a big fan of Jordan Peele. Get Out was a masterpiece, a modern horror masterpiece. Us was 75% amazing. And then Nope, we went and saw it together, and I walked out going, that was
When it
fine.
first came out.
When it first came out. But I'll probably never think about this movie ever again. And then proceeded to think and discuss this movie for several days after. And then we just did it for Movie Club every other Tuesday night on Zoom. We do a movie club where we all just discuss the film at hand.
If you're interested in joining, just message any of us.
Yeah. And has everyone here seen Nope?
Message him.
Yes,
I have not seen it.
Okay.
we knew that.
Get Out.
You've never seen?
No,
Nope.
I didn't see Get Out either.
Oh, with us.
I did see a little bit of it. I was on a plane, and somebody in front of me was watching this very intriguing looking movie.
I feel as though that's
You
the
know?
way the director intended.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a very immersive experience.
Second hand in a jet.
And I
Over a
couldn't-
shoulder.
and I couldn't hear
sound.
anything.
Yeah. Just jet noises.
But-
That's all the movie is.
It's just jet noises.
Yeah, so it's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't even see a jet, but I was like, after the flight, when he passed by, I was like, hey man, what were you watching? Because that looked pretty
And
cool.
then he said, "Stop talking to me, stranger."
Yeah.
Yeah, but I got it out of him, and it was no.
With
By
his fist.
force.
Yeah.
And so upon second viewing, I think it holds up. It's better. It's a better experience for me anyway, because all of the things that are revealed in the film, you get to know in advance. and it makes things even creepier. I don't want to spoil anything, but there are certain sounds that you hear throughout the beginning of the film.
The jet.
This is all the jet sounds. Someone dies a certain way, and you don't quite know what that is at the time. So, like, having information about all of the events that's taking place makes it creepier, and I think enhances the second viewing. Has anyone here watched it a second time? Not you.
Yes.
Yes, I've seen it 3 times.
Do you agree or disagree? Was it more about the reveal the first time, or was it better? Was it better to just know it ahead of time for the second viewing, third viewing?
I guess yeah, it was about the reveal the first time, and the second time was more just like really just settling in for the fun of it.
Yeah.
There were some things that I knew, but I still was unsure of. So it was good. The third time was me showing it to somebody, and that was even more enjoyable because then they're like, "Oh my god!" I was like, "Yeah, wait, just wait." So it's a very, very good movie.
Sub question: if you're showing someone a film, and you're excited to show them this film, and they start doing this,
I give me that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Infuriating.
That's also annoying, even if you haven't seen it before.
Yeah.
And it's like, what's happening here? Are we
Yeah.
watching the movie, or are we
Yeah.
doing this other thing?
Do you care?
I mean, I care, but I'm also guilty of doing it. There's times
Sure.
when my wife and I'll be watching things together, and I will explicitly tell her, I'm just gonna half watch it with you. I'm not really, but if she wants me to watch it, as soon as I pick up my phone, she's just like, "Pay attention." I'm like,
Yeah.
I didn't really want to watch this.
My wife and I will be like, "Hey, who's that?" And
Oh, yeah, for
take it.
sure.
Yeah, yeah.
My wife is
Yeah.
actually in the chat. He
Oh!
is very guilty of it. Yes, I am guilty of it because I don't always think that like the latest episode of whatever deserves my entire attention.
But he loves
Like,
you.
it's nice to look at
all
the
caps,
phone.
all caps. He
know.
never looks at the TV.
He didn't see that.
What
This-
is
this
what
on
is
TV.
it? Because
What show?
We've started
Yeah, they-
something.
Okay, so
what's the one?
she is a huge fan of Yellow Jackets. I just
yeah.
kind of like it.
All right.
Oh,
So
okay.
I can check my email and play a game,
Yeah.
and it's no big deal.
I'll tell you what, as long as you don't ask
Succession-
questions about it later,
Yeah.
then it's all good.
Succession-
In my opinion, anyway.
I love and watch, but it's more about the rat-a-tat of dialogue than it is anything that's actually happening on screen. So yeah, I can like look at my phone if I want to, and it doesn't really affect anything to me.
Now, is there anything that you two of you watch that you love, but she's kind of like just,
Yes, there is.
What is it?
There. Well, I don't know specifically, but there have been times when we watch a movie together, and I'll be like, "Do you want me to
wanna-
pause it?"
wanna get on this?
Or sometimes I do passive aggressively just pause.
Yes.
when she gets up or?
So it's the exact same thing, but in reverse.
Yeah, no,
situations.
we're all we're all. I look. You're right. I'm wrong. I like my device, and if it's something I'm more driving with, I'll be
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
ooh, pay attention. Or if it's something she is, it's not fair. It's whatever. I loved Nope from Jump.
Yeah.
Second time, just validated what I loved about it.
Yeah.
And I'm down with it.
And one of the things I like most about Movie Club is that I actually have to do mild digging, and by mild digging I mean I go to IMDb and I just read the trivia. So it's pretty extensive research on my part, but because of that, there's so many little details in this movie that I didn't even pick up on the second time. So many little nods to different times that happen in the movie, and it's really
The history.
the history of the film as well, the history of the real life,
Exactly.
all sorts of stuff. Very, very cool. If you've watched Nope and you were like, meh, it's fine, maybe revisit it. I think it was a much better experience on the second viewing. That's my 5 cents.
All right.
Let's move on. Oh, speaking of moving on, can you scroll back for us, please? Dill?
Dill.
While he does that, before he does that, whatever.
Oh, you've got it.
Did you ever watch? He just says I saw it and it was awesome. Did you ever watch Us again?
I did watch Us, and Us is also better upon the second viewing because I shut off my brain and stopped overthinking it, and I just decided it's a metaphor. It's not supposed to be taken literally.
Yeah, I was gonna say Us is vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like the first time I saw Us, I was like, this is the most amazing. This is wonderful. He's knocked it out of the park again. And then we get to the explanation, and I went, that doesn't make a goddamn lick of sense, and it doesn't hold up to even the tiniest of peeks behind the curtain. But the second time, I was like, oh, it's a metaphor. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Eddie Madison says, I saw Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. It was awesome. Thank you, Eddie, for that segue, because we are here to discuss Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 by James Gunn. And he wrote and direct all 3.
He had a co-writer in the first one, but look, WGA arbitration's interesting. So, what's her Perlman? A screenwriter hired by hired by Marvel to adapt and like do Guardians.
Yeah.
Then James Gunn was hired and he rewrote it himself.
Oh.
So he shares credit.
Neat.
But
He more or less wrote
He
it.
has written all 3 of them for the most
Gotcha.
part. Yeah.
Starring Chris Pratt, Zoe Saldana, Dave Bautista, Karen Gillan, Pom Clementieff,
Clementieff.
thank you, Bradley Cooper, Vin Diesel, and
Chakudi Wuji.
thank you.
Uwuji.
Uwuji.
Still reeling from the loss of Gamora, Peter Quill must rally his team to defend the universe and protect one of their own. If the mission is not completely successful, it could possibly
Self-destruct.
lead to the end of the Guardians as we know them.
Oh.
So here's the deal. Call back. We're gonna do a pre-spoiler conversation about it because this movie is still fresh.
Very.
Like it farted.
And we will let you know. And
No, it didn't fart.
we will let you know when we get into spoilers. So you guys are welcome to like chill, hang out, feel safe. You're in a safe space with us.
Yes. We've got you.
So we're gonna start
I'm gonna
off.
cradle you down.
We're going to go through real quick, like, what are your thoughts on the GOTG films before seeing this newest one? So before you went to see this, what were your thoughts? We'll go just this way.
Well, I liked them. I thought they were quirky. I liked that they are probably more so than any of the other Marvel Cinematic Universe films. They don't have to, like, adhere to the grander story that is ongoing. I like the fit of the characters. I'm a fan of James Gunn, of his writing and of his movie making. So I think probably more so than any of those films, they have a separate identity from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So I enjoyed them. You know, 1 was great. 2 was good enough for me. I liked it. And knowing that James Gunn was hopping over to DC, and so that this was going to be his swan song, I was really like, I was in for this. Like, I didn't even need to see the trailer.
Yeah. Right on. Hey, Noel.
It's my favorite. Guardians of the Galaxy is my favorite. It was my favorite before the movies, and then the movies just kind of validated the little nuggets of things that I appreciated it. But it's my favorite type of genre movie, where it's elevated by the care that's given to it, right? So like on the surface, it's a fucking walking tree and a talking raccoon fighting for the universe with an asshole. But because it's treated with such like care and actually has emotional maturity and resonance, it elevates the what about of it all.
Yeah.
And that's my favorite type of fiction across the board. So like when you look at something like Buffy, on the surface it's stupid. It's a vampire slayer teenager, but it's because of good writing, it's a metaphor for literally growing up and is treated as such. So like Guardians kind of fits in that same spot with me. I love both the movies. The second one is good enough, but like Joseph Campbell rules of fiction, just wow them with an ending and they forget about any transgression beforehand. That movie landed so incredibly well that it's just like, I mean, I don't really care what happened.
Joseph Campbell said that about fiction?
Yeah, the art of storytelling, it's like one of the tenets. It's kind of like, it's one of the sorry, that's not true. It's a part of, it's like part of his, he used to do talks and stuff about the book. And if you ever saw adaptation by
Yes. Charlie Kaufman and some other person
Ronnie
directed it.
not Ronnie Cox, Brian Cox, who plays the fake talks about like his favorite part of his book. Just wow him with the fucking ending. Don't worry about like the logistics. Wow him with the ending. But I always thought that was like a really really fun kind of like motivational speaker bullshit about like narrative. Like if you make mistakes, it's fine. Just wrap it up good.
They say that with a lot of different any interaction with somebody else. What people remember is the end of it. We should finish bigger in these shows.
I like to finish quickly.
Yeah.
So
and high five.
Yeah.
Oh, a 4-way high five at the end of every show. No one will be talking about anything else.
I was flabbergasted. I've told this story on air many times. We used to do a show called Phonographics. Me and Bodie used to do it. And when we first heard that there was going to be a Guardians movie, I was like, here we go. MCU's done. They dug too deep. This is not going to do it. Who cares about Guardians of the Galaxy? And I ate several hats after that because it is one of my favorite corners of the MCU at this point. And it really is because of the heart. There's a lot of comedy. So the MCU, and I think Terry would agree, that the MCU has a lot of drama undercut by comedy.
Yes.
That's sort of his whole problem with the MCU. And this gets very close to that, but it seems more masterful. I don't feel like any of the drama is ever undercut in these three films. I have cried in every single one of these movies.
Can I clarify my interpretation of that terminology, undercut? Undercut is done poorly.
Yeah.
Like undercut is undermining.
Yeah.
But juxtaposing to things is a different experience.
Yeah.
So like I've talked about it with Terry before, where he'll just be like, everything is undercut by a joke. I'm like, no, a joke is juxtaposed. If it doesn't work, then it undercuts the scene. But just the action of there being moments of levity is not undercutting drama. When I think that's like a distinction that's never talked about online when people start bitching about MCU.
Yeah, yeah.
So it was just like clarifying terminology.
Oh,
It's not undercut, it's juxtaposed. Yeah.
gotcha. So
now you know.
Yeah, you
the
dumb
more
idiots.
you know.
Where's that
Why
star?
are we so rude tonight?
I don't know.
He set the tone.
Sorry. That's how I do.
Shut up.
And before we move on, can someone tell me why Guardians 2 was just okay? Oh, come back, Len.
Did you mean move on to what I was going to say about this?
Yeah. Yeah, before we move on, my bit of it. I just wanted to touch on why, because I love Guardians 2 as much as I love Guardians 1.
I like Guardians
And
2.
I cried harder at Guardians 2. I don't even know if I cried during 1. But, I did. When it was a little scene when Rocket is, like, drunk and he's getting ready to blast Drax.
I cried at the whole hand.
Oh, the hand. Oh, the hand thing. Yeah, of course. But in Volume 2, I sobbed like a baby with, he may be your father, but he'll never be your daddy. And I was like, oh my God.
Oh, yeah. When he's Mary Poppins?
Yeah, Mary Poppins, bitch.
Yeah.
What is it about Guardians 2 that everyone seems to be like, it's okay?
I don't think we said it's okay. It's just not
fine.
as strong as the
Yeah,
first
it's just
one.
not as strong as the first. I mean, there are things that I didn't necessarily like about it. Like I never was about the Peter Quill and Gamora relationship.
Oh, yeah?
Yes,
Okay.
I just didn't care about that, and it didn't. That never felt 100% earned, but it
Okay.
was there. So
Yeah.
I rock with it, and the actors pulled it off. But I just never cared about it. So that sometimes would take me out of the film. And also, I do, to my eye, I think that the special effects in there weren't quite as refined. Some of them are very great, but there's enough of them that weren't quite there that left me wanting. But it was good. I liked it.
Okay, cool. I
to
wasn't
me-
sure if there was something I was missing.
No, to me it's just more. It's a lot of it's the movie itself feels a little bit more bottled than the first one. So the first one is kind of like a little bit of an expansion and exploration of like
Yeah,
these characters.
yeah.
This one they go smaller and it takes place almost exclusively
Almost like a bottle
on
episode, a bottle movie.
but then they separate the cast. So like, as much as I enjoyed in a vacuum the Ravager subplot and the Ego subplot, they just didn't always engage me.
Yeah.
Like it was a shaggier movie. Okay. It wasn't as tight. But and then also too some of the larger swings, like I get that the child of the 80s and the magic and the celestial power and Pac-Man and stuff, but it was a lot of movie contained in like a 25-minute sequence, and it was just like, it was a little exhausting, but again, they wrapped it up so fucking well that it doesn't matter. Like, so it's more along the lines of like, if I just compare the two movies, the first and the second one, one's stronger.
Okay.
Both are great.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Because I see a lot of flack given to Guardians 2 online, but I never have really no one's ever really gotten into it. Yeah.
It's weird that you say you wondered if there was something that you missed. Like if they pointed it out, you'd be like
Now it sucks. I hate
enjoyment
it.
is gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I just mean I'm missing the thing that everyone seems to have a problem with because
Yeah.
no one's ever explained it.
No. Well, I liked it.
Ah.
I liked Guardians 2. I also really liked Guardians 1. So I was already in even before the movies came out. I was like, oh, I like the Guardians of the Galaxy. I like this version of the Guardians of the Galaxy. Let's see, in the Marvel universe's present. Let's see what's happening. The Nova Corps done very well in Volume 1. Very cool. So yeah, I was very much on board for Volume 3, and as I said on our movie trailer review show, very excited to see Adam Warlock in this one. So I was ready to go.
We'll talk about that.
We will talk about
I'm
that.
curious.
I did see him.
Go good. Spoiler alert.
Did can you guys remember? It was almost 10 years ago now, 2014 when the first one came out.
Yeah.
Your initial reaction to the opening title sequence?
What was it again?
He's dancing.
Oh yeah, I loved it.
He's got
It
a
was
rat
awesome.
and he's
it's
singing.
and it's
Yeah.
it wasn't even just like the actions of that. I saw it in IMAX.
Yeah.
The whole
The-
setting of it.
Yeah, and like the way that the shot is composed
Yes,
also, whereas
yes.
Peter is this fucking big,
And it's big.
and the titling is completely around him.
It was cool.
Yeah.
And it's Redbone playing, and you're like, this is a totally different movie.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Yep.
right off the bat, like
Yep.
it set the tone for all. And I will say, the tone completely carried through to the third movie, even though it was a different movie.
film. Yeah.
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 So like that's solid. That's
I
great.
remember seeing that and like, okay, we're having fun here.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is totally different. Yes.
Even just the trailers, visually showed us a completely different color scheme
Yeah.
than what we were used to in the MCU. All of the bright neon colors and everything. It was gorgeous just to watch the trailer.
These are how the MCU movies kind of should feel. Unless it has Avengers in the title, this is how they all should feel.
Yeah.
Like a different movie that just kind of also is connected. So like that's one of the reasons why I love Shang-Chi so much.
Yeah.
Because that is not a Marvel movie. That's just a really fun movie with like with a bunch of different like inspirations from a bunch of different types of cinema. And then also it's kind of over here slightly related because they make a couple of mentions. But
Right.
it could be a different
Right.
movie altogether.
It's like the comics have been doing
yeah.
for many, many years. Just different comics feel completely different from each other. There's no... there is kind of... You can compare a DC tone to a Marvel tone, and people know what you're talking about, but there's issues and pockets of those both universes which are completely different from other things in that universe.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the movies don't have to be treated like yes ands constantly with no actual like 3 acts. Whereas the Guardians movies are their own thing and they're great. But they don't go against the other ones. They don't contradict anything else.
Yeah.
No.
So we were all fans of 1 and 2.
yes.
What were your expectations? Len sort of ticked on it a little bit going into this final chapter of Guardians. Were you were excited, or you
No,
were excited?
I was excited. Yeah.
Was anyone worried?
Worried in so much as I assumed I was gonna cry. I knew I was gonna cry.
Yeah.
But really just kind of like doing a death pool. Who's gonna die?
The trailer makes it seem like everyone's going to die.
In the trailer, there's literally
Multiple.
a good shot or two from every single main character. Like, they might die right there. Oh,
Yeah.
they might die right there.
Like literally,
Someone's
so my
screaming
expect-
like someone died.
the only one you pretty much were safe one wasn't going to die
Quill.
was Gamora.
Yeah, because
Oh,
she
yeah,
just
because-
died.
just died.
she just died.
Yeah, that's a good point. Nice.
No. Actually, yeah, everyone. And she's the only one that was probably safe. She's like, oh, my story arc actually already killed me. It's fine. Yeah.
Well, that being said, what did you think of Guardians of the Galaxy 3? No spoilers.
I enjoyed it.
Cool. I loved it so much. I haven't enjoyed a Marvel movie like that since, well, I guess No Way Home. I guess that was pretty recent. And also before that, I guess Shang-Chi. Oh, shoot.
So it's like one
I
or two a
enjoy
year?
them. Yeah,
Okay.
I enjoy them a
That's
lot, I
cool.
guess.
Yeah.
But I sobbed like a goddamn baby. And my wife also sobbed like
Wow.
a strong, powerful woman would sob.
They made quite the pair.
Yeah.
This movie made me feel really, really good. And upon, like, it wasn't just a reaction, you know, like you have a visceral reaction, but then on inspection of why I reacted that way, it was a really just strong movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, like this is the first Marvel movie, and maybe the first movie in a long time that I went in, enjoyed it, absolutely enjoyed every moment of it, but it created this I can never say this word, existential moment for me that I saw this movie on Saturday afternoon. Yeah. I am still kind of like in it.
Oh,
I've been
that's
in
great.
it for the last four days, man. It really connected so many dots for things in my mind and shit, and took me places I didn't want to go.
Yeah.
But I'm thankful that it took me there.
Yeah.
It was
There's a-
really
I love
beautiful.
There's a viral interview going around of James Gunn talking about pretty much that entirely. Like, he's at this part in his life where the stories he tells he wants to contribute something, not shock, not. I mean, there could be something shocking, there could be something funny, there could be something painful, but that's not the point of the story. Like, when somebody goes to a movie, they should feel, and when they leave that movie, they should feel just a little bit better about something.
Yeah.
Like, if that's, and that doesn't necessarily have to be positive. Like, they could feel better about this atrocity. They could feel better about the person next to him. They could feel better about, you know, or more engaged in animal cruelty.
Mm-hmm.
But it just should always be some sort of just little nugget of, I'm different now.
Yeah.
And you should approach stories like that. And that this movie, I think, kind of does that superficially and, you know, more so.
Yeah, it sounds woke.
To give a shit, give a shit is woke.
Yeah.
By the way, just that you care. You're a.
There was a
You're a
gentleman
woke
on
lit.
Twitter. There's another video going around about this guy, and he was like, "Finally, a movie that's not woke. Guardians of the Galaxy 3. It's all I wanted was something that's not woke." And I'm like, "You didn't watch the movie. You're insane."
Well, it didn't have a gay trans female lead or something
Yeah,
that's of
that's all they
color.
care
Yeah,
about.
so it's not woke. Yeah, fucking weirdos.
Who-
Is it-
Did we all go?
We all liked
We
it.
all liked
so
it.
we jump into spoilers. Exactly
Okay.
why
Here
we
it
liked
comes.
it.
Yeah.
All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Spoiler
Everyone
alert.
dies.
Oh, geez.
Fake spoilers. Real spoilers. Go.
Did you guys have a favorite bit of this movie?
When it started, then when it ended. Oh,
Nice.
God. Anyone else want to go first?
No,
There's
it's
so
tough.
many.
I loved. Actually, my main connection to this movie was Rocket.
Oh yeah.
He feels like he's kind of the main character this time around.
Oh, yeah.
And
Even though he spends a lot of it on his back.
yeah,
I was
right.
thinking that, but during that whole time you get, because I thought that too. He was barely in it, but he really was in
Yeah,
it a
of
lot,
course,
'cause
you get in the
flashback
backstory.
stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
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 And it turns out he's a raccoon, you guys.
He is a raccoon. He always was.
He's always pretending he's not a raccoon.
He
didn't know.
It was up until now that he was able to truly accept himself.
Well, from what I understand, because I was unsure, he's not actually a raccoon in the comics.
I think they've retconned it.
Oh, they
Oh, he's a
okay.
Flark.
Yeah.
Flarkin? He's a Flarkin?
No, that's
just
that's
the
from
curse.
Captain Marvel.
Ah, that's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
cat. with
That's
the
a
blah, blah, blah,
Flerken.
blah.
Is he not in the
Flerken.
comics? Is he not like an Earth raccoon taken to another planet?
I don't think so. I
Oh,
think
really?
it's the whole. At least, like you said, it probably have retconned
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
But as originally created,
Yeah.
I think he was of a planet
Ah,
of like I guess raccoon like
Yeah.
creatures.
I
interesting.
think it is it is human
It is-
animals and high encounter Earth, and I think it does.
Yeah, he's an intelligent anthropomorphic raccoon.
There you go.
But maybe back in the day
could've
it was
been.
different. Something
Who knows
else.
what that
yeah.
was?
Well, that's
But
the same
was
thing
it?
with Groot,
Was
Planet
he
X and blah, blah, blah.
upgraded in some way originally?
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
like that's the building block, and then
Yeah.
everything else is pretty much
Oh,
as
okay.
it was.
Yeah, yeah.
But
I loved a lot of this. I guess I get my I loved Rocket's origin backstory, as fucking horrific as it was.
Yeah.
But it also wasn't horrific. It was very heartful. Like
very.
like young
Very.
Rocket just trying to be helpful and learning friends, and it sets up. It makes things that happened in the other movies make more sense too. You know, like just in general. But then I don't know, what sticks with me the most, even though there's 1,000 great moments in the movie, was the finale, the end, the very end. Like him actively in the Zune, moving from the 90s, which was grunge and Pearl Jam and a little bit In Your Feels, to the 2000s with Dog Days Are Over, Florence the Machine. And it literally was a cathartic moment, not only for the audience, but for everyone in the movie. Like, they all dance
Yeah.
as a part of the film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was so rewarding. And then all of even the codas at the end, the mid and end credit, were just so wonderfully hopeful and great. It tied it up so great for me. I don't know. I need to see this movie again.
Yeah, I would love to see it again, actually.
Yeah, I didn't have a particular favorite moment like you asked, but the first thing that jumped into my mind was actually that first mid-credit scene with the new version of the Guardians of the Galaxy, who also character-wise have a lot of characters that I was interested in seeing, and addressed some Adam Warlock stuff that was different than I had been thinking we would get.
Was he part of that final team?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah? I,
Oh,
kinda,
yeah,
he
I
was.
wrote him out of my head, yeah.
He was in the
Big fan of
comics.
Crimson.
Yeah.
King Crimson.
He loves him. But in the comics, he was on the team for like 6 issues, and it looks like he was going to be on it for longer. It was like, oh, cool, this is a cool makeup of the team, and it didn't last. But we'll see what happens here. But
He's too powerful a character. In the comics, at least, that's what they kind of came across to. He's too powerful like a character to just be like another member of the team.
right.
They even depowered him for that. And then it was like it was after the Magus stuff.
Yeah.
Magnus
Yeah.
or Magus.
Magus, who knows?
Yeah,
I always
don't know
said
what they say.
Magus. I was never sure.
But then like, he moved on to like other bigger books or other like larger cosmic books.
Yeah.
But I was excited. So they introduced all these little kids and blah blah blah, and then the first time Rocket says the kid's name, which was Phyla,
Yeah.
I literally hit my wife and I was like, Phyla Val, and she's
Yeah.
like, I don't know who the fuck that is.
Yeah.
Who are you talking to? She's like, it's
Genetically
whatever,
cloned
don't worry
daughter
about
of Genis Val.
it. It's
Or of,
it's Quasar.
Marvel, I
It's
mean.
fucking
Yeah,
Quasar.
Marvel,
Yeah.
Duh.
Duh. Yeah, I think like it's easy to go on to Rocket and his whole story, and definitely that is the moving part of this movie, and that's the part that really hit me. But what I also appreciated, and this ties in to that, was I had no faith, even in James Gunn, that they would pull off the High Evolutionary.
Interesting.
Okay.
But not only did they pull off the High Evolutionary, they may have introduced the best villain in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
I'm hearing that a lot.
Somebody was complaining recently about how we approach villains in modern, just in general, like where they almost have to be more sympathetic than the hero for a lot of stuff.
I love
And
that.
as cool as that is, it's just sometimes there's just a need for a bastard, just a big old piece of shit, and his only motivation is better.
Wait,
make
is that
it move?
That's interesting because I thought while watching the movie, and I've always felt that this was true in the comics and a little bit less in this movie, that the High Evolutionary is a sympathetic villain, right? He wants to make something good. He's not going about it in a good way, right? But his end goal is this wonderful society. That's his thing. And I think in the comics he's presented as a little bit less of a bad guy. I'm not certain.
Everything I've read was much more of like a creepy fascist.
Is that called eugenics?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
big time.
Well, he doesn't just eugenics is the intentional breeding of humans.
Yeah.
He does other stuff too.
see.
Like he does genetic modification and that kind of thing.
Yeah,
The way he's presented in the movie, perfection at any cost, including
Oh yeah.
death and destruction, which I think is pure bastard. It's less so like somebody like Killmonger legitimate concerns about his whole
Well, he was
entire
just-
upbringing.
Right.
And, yeah, that's what I mean.
He was
That's
just
what I mean.
correct,
Like
right.
they go out of their way in a lot of modern fiction. They go out of their way to completely humanize and/or so much so that they're. I mean, are you the hero of this story?
Yeah.
And then just do one terrible decision at the very end, almost inorganically, to make them the bad guy.
Yeah.
Whereas this was, he was garbage from the jump and
Garbage.
just fucking ate every single scene he was in.
Yeah.
Oh, he I mean,
Dude,
what's
was
his
he-
name? Chukwudi Wuji. He
He's
was
great.
amazing. He was amazing. And there was one scene where, because you're introduced to him primarily through the backstory of Rocket Raccoon.
He's a giant hand at first.
Yeah. And there's
little
one
googly
there's
eyes on
one
it.
scene where Rocket Raccoon has had these horrific, like experiments done to him and everything, but they create the great intelligence that Rocket Raccoon has, and the High Evolutionary is sitting there with Rocket Raccoon, and they're just, and he's almost has him almost like his favorite pet.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah,
talking
yeah,
to
yeah.
him, and he's talking to him about the stars and about the world he's going to
sky.
create, and
The
it's gonna
forever
be
sky.
amazing. It's like, oh my god! And Rocket is like eating it up because he doesn't know. And if you just listen to the High Evolutionary's tone, it does sound like, he's seeing him almost as a pet.
Yeah.
So in your mind, there's the turn's going to happen.
Yeah.
But you're wondering what is going to be the turn.
Yeah.
But then, as he's talking to him, he puts his hand around his head,
Yeah.
and you can tell the way he squeezes, like, oh yeah, you're just a mother.
Yeah.
Credit to credit due for Bradley Cooper,
Ah.
who
True.
just fucking destroys the voice acting in this.
So good.
Still sticking with me, will stick with me for probably decades, is Rocket's reaction to Lila
Yes.
being taken.
Oh my
Now-
god.
It's a choice of Guns to not cut away from Rocket screaming in grief. They hold on that shot for a good 10 hard seconds, and it's not just like a scream. It's a scream,
yes.
and then a guttural scream, and then another one, and not exactly knowing what to do with his own body. It was so fucking hard to watch, but it still felt incredibly vital.
Yeah.
You give shout outs to Bradley Cooper, rightfully so. Shout outs to that is great special effects.
Oh yeah.
Because you are feeling that is Rocket Raccoon going through that moment.
Is there anybody acting it out at all?
Yeah,
Is that?
James, it's
Sean Gunn.
Sean Gunn.
Oh right. Oh, that's right.
Yeah, the motion capture is done by Sean Gunn.
Right.
But
And
yeah,
what is her name? Lila. Was that is
Linda
that Linda
Cardellini.
Cardellini?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's also already in the Marvel universe as
and-
Hawkeye's wife.
and Michaela Cooper is
the
the rabbit,
rabbit.
Floor.
Mm-hmm.
And I forgot who Teefs is.
I forget her
Teefs.
Put it
What
on
are
my
the,
face.
the thing about this film though, and it's good to have friends, is like you mother. I know what you're doing. I know it's gonna happen, but I still love it. It's so cute. And I love these guys.
Her
and then-
voice acting there
Yeah.
was what really sold that. It felt like a children's TV show.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
she's very earnestly, they're in this horrific environment, but on the set of a kids show where they're learning about friendship.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's good to
you
have
know what?
friends.
That is spot on.
Oh,
Because
thanks.
I did you kind of feel
Yeah.
that. And
Yeah.
even though logically, this is gonna go
Right.
It's
so
so
left.
bad.
In
Yeah.
these cages.
I don't know. I fooled myself. There's a scene in the trailer where they hug Lila and Rocket.
Yeah.
And I swear to God, in my old headcanon before the movie, I thought when he finally gets into the heart of the ship, she's not dead yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nope.
No.
Yeah.
Nope.
I especially liked a lot of kid shows do this too. And when we are introduced to young Rocket, his first word is hurts. Get that on a lot of
A lot
kids
of kids shows.
Yeah, a lot of kids shows.
There was
you should
a
evaluate the kids shows that you're
That I'm watching. Yeah.
a lot of the stuff in his backstory makes a lot of the stuff in the other two movies make sense. His frustration in the first movie when they're drunk. His reaction to Quill sacrificing himself on Ego.
Yes.
Where he literally tases Gamora like, I'm not going to lose another friend today. Just there's a whole bunch of like stuff that just like a sequel shouldn't only be about escalation. It should also help improve the other stuff that you set up foundationally.
Right.
And this just does all together, including my favorite bit that we talked about, where we as the audience finally understand Groot.
Oh, I
yes.
didn't get that. I didn't get that at all.
interesting.
He had to let me know because I was like, oh, I thought that was kind of weird. Like all of a sudden he can speak English, and Noel's like, oh no. That's we, the audience, are now part of the Guardians family, and we understand what he's saying. He's still speaking Groot,
Yeah.
and I was like, you mother Hubbard.
This is proof that me and you, we have good podcast partners.
Yeah.
As I left the show mission yesterday talking about Guardians of the Galaxy with Vincent, I said, the only part I didn't really like is like, I didn't really think that they needed him to like speak English at the end. He was like, he stopped in the middle of the street. It's like, we understand him now. And I stood there, I was like, oh shit.
Yeah. It's not like hella clear, but it's been confirmed. And in the moment, like that's why they show the, him with Gamora.
That's
Like,
exactly what Vincent said.
Set it up for you.
He
that,
said
like,
the same
and then
thing.
in the only other time we've seen Groot use any other word was we. We
Yeah.
are Groot.
I just thought it was
And
another one
everyone was just beside themselves in response. In this one, it was just like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, we all understood you. That's fine.
Yeah.
Move on.
Oh, man.
It was to tell you that, like, you are now part of the family, which I thought was fantastic.
Robert Monroe Jr. says, little kids going to see Guardians of the Galaxy 3 are going to leave messed up. To which Sam says, I don't know if she's responding to that or something else, but she says 100%. Groot pulled a family Fast and Furious moment.
Yeah.
It felt like a Silent Bob situation at first until I realized what was happening.
Yeah,
So I
it's-
didn't get it. And then I was like, I told my wife, I'm like, honey, did you know that like that's what happened? And she's like, yeah.
Yeah, you
So you're
fucking
asking her if
idiot.
she
Yeah.
understood Groot too.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh,
Did
yeah,
you
but-
understand?
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Interesting that Lady Sam, that you mentioned Fast and the Furious, and that it was Groot who pulled that family moment. Groot, who is famously voiced by one Vin Diesel. I wonder if he learns anything when we get to Fast X.
I don't know. Maybe.
Well, I mean, family's most important. We'll talk about Fast X
Okay.
when
I
the
know.
time comes. One of the other things that I really, really liked.
Well, I
was-
was going to say something, and
Oh,
and Noel
sorry, go ahead.
said something.
sorry, go ahead.
But yours did not have primacy over mine. You go ahead. I'll say my thing
Primacy,
next.
I like that.
Thank you.
I enjoyed what they did with Peter and Gamora.
I love that.
Yes.
They didn't she is a different person altogether, and no matter how much he tries to keep chasing, running away from himself / chasing whatever he thinks is right.
Right.
She still isn't the same person. And the fact that they didn't completely undermine all of the stuff that happened before, including her death,
Yeah.
narratively was just incredibly satisfying. And like she even validates his mourning.
Yes.
Like I bet we were great.
I bet we were
were.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You wouldn't believe. And then I'm sorry. I know it's like cool to hate Chris Pratt. He fucking killed it in this.
He was great. He was
I
great.
don't have a
You know
problem with
why?
Chris Pratt.
Because I think James Gunn gets the character of Peter Quill, and Peter Quill is misused in everything else. James Gunn even pointed that out himself.
I was bummed about what
he wanted to correct
Endgame.
some of the narrative of Peter Quill that had happened in all of the other movies where he was. He gets him, and he made it work. And so shout out to Chris Pratt. Shout out to Zoe Saldana, an actress who I like a lot. But I think this is her best performance as Gamora. And one small note to the not, doing away with anything. When at the end of the film, when she goes back to the Ravagers,
I was just thinking that.
there's a part of you that's kind of waiting for her to like kind of wistfully look back, but no,
That's her family.
that is her family, and they
Yeah.
embraced it, and I love
In
it.
direct contradiction to what he says earlier, he's like, we're your family. The Ravagers aren't your family. And she
I'm
goes
more
back.
of a Ravager than you.
Yeah,
He actually
and,
says her,
and then she goes back, and I didn't say anything, but like she's clearly that is actually her family.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that little bit. That was awesome.
No, I was with you, Len. I never really saw the two of them together through anything other than they're the male and female lead of the movie.
Right.
And so they will end up together kind of thing. So I didn't care that much about it, but it is an interesting identity question. Like, she is not that Gamora, and I really liked how they handled that as well. But she does have all of the makings of that Gamora, right? Like, she does change during the course of this film to be somebody who saves Groot, and I thought that was an interesting examination of that potential within her.
What I also like about this version of the character is rewatching Guardians 1 today, I was reminded that she hates Peter in beginning because she thinks that he is a scoundrel and a thief and is unreliable and untrustworthy.
Your pelvic sorcery? I think?
Yeah. But in this version of her, she's actually kind of shittier because she has been with the Ravagers in the same way that Peter used to be with the Ravagers. So she's actually less focused on his
Shittiness.
yeah. I just thought that was kind of neat. Like,
Well,
she's
and
a
he's not
darker
as
version
much.
of the character.
Yeah.
He's a more responsible guy
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
than he was then anyway. Less of a rapscallion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you guys think of the grandfather stuff? I was very happy with it because it is a hanging. Like, this man has spent 35 years
Yeah.
thinking that
Yeah.
his.
I also like their
Grandson.
conversation. Like,
Yeah.
they're like, oh, you have no idea.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
That last bit of the legendary Star-Lord will return is just blowing my mind.
Yeah.
Like, is it
In
gonna
what?
be just like a Thor short where it's just like roommate Daryl type shit, or where's Star-Lord gonna show up?
Yeah.
Yeah, who knows?
Where would you like
I
him to
was-
show up?
I was surprised by that.
So was I.
I was
too.
like, oh, he is? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I thought we were done.
Not the Guardians.
cool.
The legendary
Yeah,
Star-Lord
legendary
will
Star-Lord.
return.
Yeah, but the legendary Star-Lord doesn't necessarily have to be Peter Quill.
There is no other Star-Lord.
How do you know? Somebody else
Just
can
saying,
take on
there
the
is no
title.
other Star-Lord.
Could be.
Where do you
Now-
want? Do we want him to show up somewhere?
Yeah,
I
sure,
do. I
if
got
it's cool.
ideas.
I mean, I
Call me.
love the cosmic. What did you say, Greenland?
Call me.
Call me.
Call you.
Where do I want him to show up? Greenland.
Yeah, one of those Greenland-centric films. I love Marvel's cosmic, deal. Everything in their cosmic section of their comics are some of my favorite things in Marvel in general. And so that's one thing I've liked about this whole trilogy is the, getting to see Marvel cosmic more. So anywhere he shows up, if it's anything like that, I'm in. I like seeing their stuff. It might not be.
I want that. I want Star-Lord and Nova.
Oh.
Yeah, or just Nova.
Because
But yeah, him and Richard Rider from Annihilation.
it doesn't
and
even have
stuff.
to be Richard.
Yeah.
It could be Sam.
Sure.
I like the idea that in the Marvel universe, Xandar is decimated and the entire Nova Corps is no longer.
It's true. So
from
we got
what
the
know.
whole world mine and the helmet set up.
I was gonna
going
say
on already.
exactly
Yeah.
like just a helmet, world mine,
Yeah.
all and some dumb shit on Earth, and then there's this guy who kind of knows about.
Oh, that
whatever.
would be awesome.
Right, just
Yeah.
the way that the MCU has it all
Yeah.
kind of like laid out. Like, give me a solo Star-Lord thing that introduces Nova and the
very
world
cool.
mine.
I would
Right?
say
buddy
do Sam.
comedy.
Yeah, I would
kinda.
like do Sam.
I think
so.
yeah.
So that makes Peter have to be more of a father figure to someone else.
Yeah. Well, he even kind of was that. Not as much, but when the Nova Corps stuff happened, and you first are introduced to Peter Quill in the modern era that becomes the Guardian of the Galaxy, and he's got the thing in his eye. He's this grizzled, been around the block 18 times kind of
comic
guy.
book.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
he-
Richard Rider has been Nova for a while, but he was a kid when he was Nova, and he's an adult now, but he's just now dealing with the whole overwhelming force of the world mine. He's the last Nova, so there is that dynamic, but not as much as there might be if it was Sam going into it. Yeah.
I was surprised that Nova didn't show up already. Like when I saw all the Nova
Yeah.
Corps in one, I was like, oh great. I guess we're probably gonna get a Nova.
Me too.
That would have been too.
Some character's gonna be called Richard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I wanted to touch back on something that we said we would touch back on.
Was it about Adam Warlock?
It was about Adam Warlock.
Yeah.
I see a lot of grumbles and mumbles online
see that.
about how
Sure.
he's like, oh, they nerfed him. They made him weak and he's a big baby.
Well, they didn't do that.
Didn't make him weak at all.
That's not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he
They
was-
did something with him.
Yeah. Well, so
As a Warlock fan.
I love Adam Warlock. I've always thought he was cool. I thought he was cool before I knew what his backstory was, where he was originally him
Yeah.
created to be like the perfect
Man.
being, the perfect man, right? But the people that create him are not so great, and he leaves them, and he becomes this, stoic space messiah kind of figure, this cerebral
That's
kind of
not
character.
Silver Surfer.
No, but there is room for plenty of that.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I like that. I think I was introduced to him during the Infinity Watch time when
Is that
the
before Gauntlet?
no.
Oh, after
After,
Gauntlet. Yeah.
where he and Drax the Destroyer and Pip the Troll and Gamora, maybe somebody else, well, there must have been at least two more, who were in charge of keeping an eye on the Infinity Stones, as they were called at the time. Or no, the Infinity Gems. Sam says that she asks us, or any comic nerds, to help her out. I read somewhere that Peter Quill is bi in the comics. Will we see some of his new love interest in the future? Face red heart shape.
I can answer that question.
Hey, Noel, why don't you answer that question?
Well, you see, in the more recent Al Ewing run, Star-Lord Peter was
Peter Lord.
sacrificed himself when fighting some gods. But really, he ends up being kind of shunted into a alternate dimension.
Yeah.
In this alternate dimension, time travels differently, and he is there for thousands of years. In those thousands of years, he becomes part of a throuple with another couple that take him in, and then they just kind of explore togetherness together. During this, he also, because he elevates as a being, so he actually does become a Star Lord.
Nice.
When he comes back from it all, he has the abilities to I forget what it is. It's something like manipulate light and something else
Stars.
because he has been
You could
around.
just manipulate that.
Like he,
Kind of
he
hey,
evolves.
Why don't you go grab me a soda?
He literally, for thousands of years, he evolves, and part of that evolution is that sex and gender don't really matter.
Yeah.
Indeed. Hey, when you're a star.
So technically, he is bi.
I knew you all know. Not all. Just
no,
just him.
no.
Just your
No was the
husband.
only one that knew.
She says thank you.
So I'll tell you what, the Silver Surfer Warlock comparison
Yeah.
are a little. I wouldn't see Silver Surfer as much of a messianic figure, right? He's like a prophet, maybe, or this
Yeah.
like redemptive kind of philosophical guy.
It's true, yeah.
And but Adam Warlock has some troubles ahead sometime, right? If I forget what sets it off, but sometimes in the future he might become
The Magus.
the Magus, right? Who looks just like him except purple and with white hair, and he's bad. He's bad, dude.
Occasionally a white fro.
Some really?
Wasn't his
Yeah.
first look like a
I don't remember.
Like
that.
its
Oh, yeah.
very first look?
one of his first looks?
I don't remember
I
that.
don't remember that.
Okay.
So that was not the version
That's
of
not
Adam
what's in this
Warlock
movie.
that we got at all.
Right,
And
yeah.
And it was one of two removed cerebral characters who were not represented in that way. Starhawk, the Sylvester Stallone's character, who in the comics knows a great deal because he lives his life over and over and over again, like he lives through it all the time, is not a Sylvester Stallone type figure normally.
Yeah.
He's this much more esoteric guy. But it was still cool to see this universe's version of Starhawk and this universe's version of Adam Warlock,
Yeah.
who was, I think, more on that path by the end of the movie in the final scene. And you see little hints. Oh, he
That's
does.
so stupid.
He has a fro. He has got a fro.
Oh, wow. I forgot about that.
But
A question
I mean,
about
he works
Starhawk.
yeah.
Didn't Starhawk in the comics have some type of headgear?
He does have some headgear.
Oh, yeah.
So I think the joke of making Sylvester Stallone Starhawk is that you never see him in the headgear, a la with, like when he was Dredd.
when you saw
And
him
he-
outside.
Wow.
Yeah.
Funny.
Yeah,
we go.
that just clicked on me
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I never really realized that he was supposed
Yeah.
to be Starhawk. But
Yeah, well, it's very subtle in that he doesn't do or say anything that Starhawk would do.
That is subtle.
Yeah, and it
He's
really,
connected in no way.
I think it's
Yeah.
just the color scheme of the costume
Right.
and those shoulder things.
because he really doesn't
Sure.
do or
Yeah.
say much in the movie.
Yeah.
No, not really. He's just the leader of the Ravagers.
Yeah.
That is all.
Yeah.
I
who,
don't-
who are also composed of other
Yes.
original future
Yes.
Guardians characters or versions of them, which I love to see.
I don't want to close this off without talking about Nebula. Nebula has throughout the 3 films and more. I guess there was the
Christmas special?
Christmas special.
Yeah.
And also, an Endgame. I think the first time that I started really sort of appreciating her was when she's playing paper football
Yeah, with Tony.
with Tony.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, oh, I like her. And so just throughout these 3 movies, I really like the development of her character. And just Karen Gillan, not Kieran.
Karen. That's a different guy.
Yeah.
Different person.
She was just delightful. She was one of my favorite things to watch in all of these movies, just watching her kind of grow and become a different kind of character. I just really liked her.
I enjoyed the development of her character through all the films and through the Marvel Cinematic Universe in general. I applaud the actress and her skill and her technique. But I'm going to have a man moment and say
You like the blue?
she also has the sexiest walk
Oh, yeah, she does.
Oh,
that
she's
I
Karen
have
Gillan in
ever
general.
seen.
That's true.
I could watch her walk to the bathroom.
The only time I
Have you?
I'll never tell.
Okay.
where she has to move a lot of product, so it's just really. So the only time I noticed her walk, honestly, was earlier. I was watching Guardians 1, and she's mad at for whatever she has to go do something herself. Like if you want it done, you have to do it yourself. And she's walking out of what's his name's throne room from the first movie.
Ronan.
Ronan. And she walks out and the door shuts behind her, but she has such a swagger,
Yes.
such an attitude in that walk that I just caught her as she was leaving because I was doing something else and I was like, oh, that's funny. That's the only time I have to go pay attention to her walk.
It's
nice.
every
Yeah, it's a good one.
It's a good walk.
Yeah.
yes.
Len and I were having a conversation earlier about Nebula.
Couldn't let it go.
I can't. I shan't let it go because that's what we're here for. The only problem I have with Nebs, as she likes me to call her, is that in the first movie,
She actually doesn't like it.
she hates it. She shaved her head. The actress
Yeah.
shaved her head for the role.
And you have a problem with that?
And I have a problem that now she does not shave her head.
Oh, what?
She
a
puts
jerk.
they put a whole helmet on her
Dare
The-
she
well, okay,
not
so-
be willing to shave her own
Well, I mean, if it's the
for
job, it's the
millions
job.
of dollars. That's part of the character she signed a contract
She's
to play.
still got the millions of dollars.
She did.
Well, I don't know if
It's
it's
not a
a
huge deal.
I don't know if it's a you need to or you don't need to, but the makeup in this one had it was
Seems.
yeah, it had seams.
Mm-hmm.
Her makeup specifically had seams. Like the underneath of her face, like the jowls looked like applications as opposed to just her face. And it's noticeably different between this one and just the second movie.
No, wasn't she like torn apart in between then and now?
Yeah, that's been part of her shtick since Jump.
She constantly
true.
just like pops herself back into.
No.
So then the shaved head thing doesn't matter too much either because it's just she has a slightly bigger
To me,
head.
it's not the shaved head. It's
Yeah,
it's the literally how it looks like from the
didn't
bottom
notice
of her
that.
face down.
Yeah.
But it's
sorry.
not. That's me. That's me talking. Don't worry about it.
All of it? 150 years?
Yeah.
Oh.
Don't worry about
Yeah,
it.
but my thing is that yes, did she sign the contract? In you know,
Are you talking to me? I don't care.
oh, I'm talking to him.
Yeah.
Again.
Let's both talk.
I'm
through-
on your turn.
I'm too angry at you to talk
yeah.
to you. Let's all talk to Noel, and he can pass. it
He's
on.
really
You
mad
tell
about her
JD
not shaving her
that I
head.
said for JD to ask you to tell
He
Len.
says he don't give a shit.
She did sign the contract, and yes, that's what the character called for. That's what the character called for. But I'm willing to bet that she, along with everyone else, signed contracts that called for them to star in a certain number of films.
Yeah.
And I bet none of them had an idea that when those number of films, it would take them 10 years to get out. They would also need them for little bits on in
That's true.
other
Other
films
things.
as well.
Yeah.
And then you're talking about who knows what the makeup was doing to her.
Allergy-wise, perhaps.
Right.
Yeah.
And who knows, as far as because of the tight schedule of them filming things, she may have been already doing something else so that she couldn't cut her hair.
Yeah, just maintenance, right?
You know?
Yeah.
That 10 years though is really the
But that
big
10 years
point.
is a big thing
That's a
because,
long
as I
time.
pointed out
Yeah.
to you, Drax, and I just drew a blank on the actor's
Dave
name.
Bautista?
He was
Dave
great.
Bautista. He pointed out, hey, I don't need to be running around with my shirt off the whole movie
Yeah.
anymore because I'm not that guy anymore. I'm still cut, but I ain't.
Right.
Yeah, 10
Drax.
years ago, cut.
Right.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So they make allowances for these things. They made an allowance for him. I'm willing to bet they made certain allowances for Zoe Saldana as far as her makeup. I'm sure that there's a line there.
You don't
So
think they
it
did the
happens.
green all under
All that,
their
yeah.
old
All that.
clothes?
It's not a
It would
big
be
deal.
cool,
it was
though.
just something that I noted.
It's
and I
not a
was
big
just like,
deal.
eh.
We had a conversation and sussed it out, and yet you still felt to
Still
bring it
brought
up
it up.
at the end of the show.
Because I thought
that
it would
way
be
I
an
could weigh
interesting
in on
conversation
which I
for
will
a
do right now.
conversation show.
She was the goat in this movie.
and you
She was
didn't-
so good.
And
She
you
was so
didn't
good.
seem a lot more mad.
So
at the
Nebula
now.
store. At the store.
Oh yeah.
between the movies, Nebula has essentially become the glue for this entire group.
Very true.
Yeah.
She is the goat of
She's
this
so
entire
great.
team.
She's so great.
And the fact that she decides to kind of continue to protect Nowhere as her
Home.
mission and home because she's never had a home.
Oh yeah.
Every single one of these wrap ups was incredibly satisfying. Like Drax's wrap up, super
Yes.
satisfying.
Even Mantis,
Mantis.
who they
Mantis.
give a
Yeah.
fighting moment
Yeah.
where she's
Yeah.
great, and they give her some agency in this film. I enjoyed
That
it.
hallway scene was awesome.
Yes.
That was a great fight scene.
I'll tell you what. Now that it was a great fight scene, the aesthetic of this film is something we have not touched on, and it's great. Like when they go into that organic
Oh, it's a horror
thing,
movie.
and they're all
that was
it's
so cool.
very cool. It looks cool. It's Nathan Fillion is fun in it.
I was wondering if it was going to be related to the cancer verse. Honestly, when I first saw it.
Oh, yeah,
That'd
yeah.
be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right though, and the aesthetic is very. It's more James Gunn than the other two movies
Yes.
combined because
Oh.
there is a goopiness to this movie.
Although,
Web puppets,
and I did
yes.
like that a lot, but it makes me think of the opposite of that, which is also really cool. The High Evolutionaries red cube throne room kind of thing
Oh,
with
yeah,
a like swirling up cube playstyle. That looked really cool too. It was a great looking movie from design of the world that they were in kind of perspective.
For sure.
But what I was going to bring up was Drax, who I thought was great. I thought the end that he got was great, like you guys said. But thinking about it, when he's like, well, you never asked if I spoke this language.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, you kept this to yourself? These children,
Yeah.
you're trying to communicate with them. And why would you not? Although he is a very literal guy.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know?
very literal, as
Yeah.
in like he understood them,
Yeah.
but there was nothing to act on in that moment.
I guess
until he
not.
had to,
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
so weird. He's such a weird
No,
dude.
but if you think about it, if you look back at the movie, in the background, he is kind of like just with them.
Yeah.
So he could have been like just understanding them. He didn't ask me.
That's true. I mean, he didn't even really realize that they didn't understand him.
So I saw this movie in the largest format possible. How did you guys feel about the High Evolutionary reveal?
His face.
Which,
you
what do
mean?
you mean?
Yeah, I was trying to just be.
I loved
quick
it.
about
Super gross.
I loved
Super
it.
gross.
I loved
Oh, you
it.
mean at
fucking-
the end?
Yeah.
So
And I
find
love that
out
they
what
went for it.
Raccoon did, what Rocket did to him.
Yeah, because you only see it from Rocket like ripping at
Yeah,
it. At its
yeah.
I absolutely loved
Oh.
it.
Yeah, so I thought
did
that that's
not
why he.
Piece that together.
I
Oh,
thought
yeah,
that
that's all
that's.
'cause of
I
him.
knew that they didn't show it and Rocket went to town on his face. I knew that's why he no longer had the top of his head. But I didn't know that it was a straight up full mask.
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't?
No, I just thought it was like a facelift kind of John. Like that's still his.
Yeah.
That's
Gotcha,
still his.
gotcha.
But to go full horror movie,
Yeah.
and it wasn't just like a peek.
No, I know.
He's got
It was
dialogue.
It was
Moving
an
his mouth
IMAX
around.
sized full screen shot of the
Of Darkman.
looking fucking worse than Darkman.
Yeah, yeah.
Way worse than Dark Man.
Well, the special effects are so
And I
much
loved
more
it. I
advanced.
loved it. And I
Yeah.
did think too, like, oh, this is not for kids, but god damn it, if I was a kid and I saw this, it'd be the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what said fucking it.
Yeah, get in the
who-
fucking car.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yes, that was
Who
it.
says it?
Peter. Yeah.
Get in the fucking. Oh, I didn't even
That
catch it.
actually, that's again, so that's a scene that maybe like Terry would be like, you didn't need it, throw it out, didn't do
Yeah.
anything, it didn't propel the plot. It was so incredibly enjoyable.
It was
Trying
enjoyable.
to explain
I don't know that I would have known to push the button in on
Well, that's
an
just
old
it.
style car.
that not only are they normally antiquated for anybody that might be
Yeah.
like under the age of 30,
Yeah.
but another like completely unaware of just this type
What a
of
car
technology.
is.
It's just like push the button. I am like no, that's the keyhole. The button.
Yeah.
Pushed it. Now what? Open the fucking door.
Right.
See, I didn't know. I couldn't remember what scene that was in, but I did see the interview where James Gunn was telling the viewer that like he always has an earpiece with Chris Pratt, so he can just whisper stuff and talk to him whenever they're filming. And so he was the one say fucking. So just for fun, just to like throw everybody off. But then they were like, it was so funny that they kept it in the movie.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, yeah.
And I love the idea that when they get in the car,
Yeah.
they don't know how
Still
to
don't know
drive.
how to
know how to
drive.
do it
Yeah,
either.
Because
yeah.
he left
Right.
the Earth when he was 8.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
He
I
doesn't
love
know
that.
really what a car is.
Oh,
How did
also
those-
when Gamora. No, damn it, I do that every time.
Nebula.
When Nebs was holding Peter and walking with him, I assumed that they just had the actor on wires.
Or just like CG.
Yeah, that was a
yeah.
35-pound complete reconstruction of Chris Pratt.
Get out
That
of here.
she
Yeah.
could just
There's
lift
there's
up.
some
Yeah, she
really
was,
great
like,
videos
walking it around.
online
Yeah.
of them all testing it and checking it out, and Chris Pratt is visibly confused / disturbed
Yeah.
by how good it looks. 'Cause like from off screen, because it's like TikTok videos from off screen. The special effects guy's like, "Yeah, you did the whole body scan. You don't remember?" He's like, "My wife has to like see this. This is weird. This
Yeah.
is weird, right? Do you want to hold it?"
Yeah.
It's and then there's a couple of really good jokes about where they kept it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't think that that's why they made that. I was wondering when I watched it. I was like, why did that need to be a dummy? It was so that she could lift it.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't. Yeah. Oh, it makes perfect. I was like, couldn't he just lay like that? Also, I have a question. How does that planet work with the different? There's like a lot of different species there.
Yeah.
Do they interbreed? How does that happen?
I think they
What's
do.
going on?
Well,
You
he
think
creates
so?
them.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
They're all created
but
by him
once
in a
it-
lab.
No, but I mean, once it gets going,
Oh, then they
what's
just
the plan?
start fucking.
You think they'll have like bat monkeys and that kind of
Yeah,
thing?
bat monkeys.
Fish?
Who else?
All right,
Who else
that's
is gonna
cool.
make the humanimal meth?
So they'll eventually. That's a good point. The bat monkeys are really good at that. But so eventually there'll just be one kind of
Eventually, yeah.
mix of Earth animals anthropomorphized.
Like a real melting pot.
Yeah,
That's
they
pretty
all
cool.
died.
Yeah.
They'll
Yeah.
be Muppets.
Every one of them.
Oh, is that where the Muppets came from?
Yes.
I didn't know
God.
that.
All right. Anything else we want to touch on?
It's a great movie. Everyone should see it.
One other thing came out of this experience.
Yes.
I cannot believe, as I sat in the beginning of this film, before the movie even began, and I was eating my first order of pretzel bites.
How many
Your
orders
first
did
order.
you have?
That's not important.
Okay, not important. Go
It's
ahead.
important
Go
to
on.
me.
And as I was watching,
More than one.
The
is
trailers.
enough for concern.
But is there more than one depending on the length of the movie? So if it was under 2 hours, just one pretzel bite.
can I get through my story?
Actually, you know what? More importantly,
I'd really prefer that we focus
do you
on this.
order them all at the start, or do
Yeah,
you
are
go
you
back
like- Yeah, you
mid
should.
movie
Are you like,
for
excuse
fresh?
me, sir? What's the running time? I'll need 2. Or is it like
You're
you
like,
leave
I'm halfway through. I'm hungry. I need more pretzel bites.
It's a
anyway,
very
what's
sort
your
of not.
point?
Excuse me, sir. What's the running time?
Yeah.
I'll need 2.
Yeah.
2 what?
I mean, if it's his regular theater, I don't know. That doesn't
Right.
question.
Yeah.
As
Man,
I'm
how's the world treating you?
watching the trailers,
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
and I'm ticking off, usual, like, I've seen this one, he's whatever. I cannot believe that I found myself saying aloud, and thankfully I
To
was
your
with-
pretzel bites.
I saw this movie by myself, so it was with
So
no
it was a
one.
good cry.
So I said it to myself. I think I want to see Transformers:
There we go.
Rise of the Beast.
Yes,
Oh, all
Me too.
right.
the beast. Yes.
There
I do
was-
too.
I watched
I do too.
the trailer this time, and I just kind of like just focused on like the transforming and the action beats, and I think I want to see the movie.
Okay.
going.
Len, you let me know. We'll go. Let's go.
We can all go.
I'm in.
We'll
Yeah.
be there to support you every step of the way.
I think it's comes
Don't
out
talk
June
during it,
9th.
though.
That's not that far from now. I'm in.
Is it that soon?
Yeah, it's June 2nd is Spider-Man, June 9th is Transformers, and June 16th is Flash.
Oh, sweet.
That's 3 straight
snaps.
weekends.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right.
That's why I got the stupid Regal thing.
Pass, I got
'cause
that
it's
too.
there's
We go unlimited,
there's gonna
baby.
be movies all constantly.
Yeah.
Indeed.
All right. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Until next week, where can the people find you? No.
You can find me online at Mr. Bartocci, or on Twitter at Mr. Bart. Well, for now, Mr. Bartocci, MrBartocci. But more importantly than that, every Wednesday morning we drop a podcast called Fresh
Floppies.
where we will do spoiler-free reviews of comic books that are coming out today. So let's say you're not up to current, but you want to know what's going on. Listen to it. Let's say you still pick up current and you want to know if something you're gonna pick up or thinking about picking up, if it's good or not. Listen to it. Let's say you haven't read a comic book in decades. Listen to it.
Yeah.
Just listen to the show. Like, comment,
Are
subscribe.
there any circumstances under which somebody should not listen to it?
Dying.
Still,
Yeah.
what if you want to just hear about some
Let's
comics?
say you're on
you know
your
what I'm saying?
deathbed.
Yeah, let's say you're on your
Listen to
deathbed
it.
and it's
All
a
right.
choice. No, it's listen to it. Yes,
Yeah.
it's the choice between hearing the voice of your loved ones for the last time, or the latest episode of Fresh Floppies. That's why you have 2 ears.
Yeah, just talk. They can all
Earbuds.
talk too.
Are you-
Whisper,
wait,
sweet, nothing's
You confused me
goodbyes.
with that because it sounded like you're saying we are not their loved ones.
Sometimes
Okay.
Yeah, why don't you have that kind of relationship with the
with
listeners?
everyone.
I mean,
Yeah.
I do.
I
You are my
wanna-
loved ones.
I want to cast a wide net. Hate
That's
me.
cool.
Listen to it.
Hey,
Don't
Len.
care.
Yes.
Where can people find you?
I can be found here in the Video Content Factory on Tuesday nights, streaming live at 7 p.m. Eastern
BCF.
with the Michelle Mission and Dylan the Great
Dill.
at the board.
Hey, Brian.
Hey,
Where can the people find you?
I'm around. So you might just see me, but I'm also at BrianLiebDesign.com, a website that showcases my designs.
Let's say
Yeah.
you want to see a website that showcases Brian Lieb's designs.
Yeah.
Go to BrianLiebDesign.com.
It's an excellent choice.
Yeah.
If you just want to see some cool designs,
Yeah.
and you're not thinking it would necessarily be mine.
Yeah.
Still go to BrianLiebDesign.com. They are mine,
Yeah.
but you'll be happy.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
They're yours.
spoiler.
He said it. Fresh floppies. But we'll see you here next time. This time now. What did we do?
All times are one.
Are we
So
doing the thing where it's like what scared us?
we
What?
could. It's either gonna. It's probably gonna be. We're gonna talk about things that traumatized us in our youth.
Children's movies that shouldn't have been children's movies.
Not
Children's
stuff
mo-
that happened to us.
No,
No,
not
okay.
real life events.
Less.
Because I fell
it's,
down this.
My first word was
ravine.
hurts.
Yeah.
Trauma from something derived of fiction.
Fictional, yeah.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
No, your trauma's real.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
like,
Yeah.
but derived from fiction.
yeah, it's fiction trauma.
All right. Thank you so much for hanging out with us, and we will talk at you later.
Da-da!